Hey everybody, welcome back to season 2 with Ghost Hunting Beauties on our podcast. We have so much going on behind the scenes that you see on camera and don't see on camera. So in the studio for our season 2 recap, we have SPI with us once again. So stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. So we are excited today. Again, we have SPI in the studio with us, the lovely ladies. And these are just the most amazing trio who have been on set for season 2 and ghost hunting with us, paranormal investigating, all the good things. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yep, glad to be here.
So season 2, if I can say, has just been nothing like season 1. It's been crazier. Am I right?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Absolutely.
So thank God you guys were there because I didn't expect any of that. And if we didn't have you guys on set there guiding us along the way, I probably would have peed myself, ran away, or quit. So thank y'all for enduring some of the craziness.
That's the job.
I was going to say, Amy's probably thinking, this is crazy. Like, this is mild. This is a regular day.
Well, for y'all, it was definitely crazy. So.
Yes. And for some of the people that were there, that was new. We had new girls. So let's start with, what was it like working with the new girls? We had Lisa and Issa, so it makes it easier to remember.
It was great.
Yeah.
I think they complement the group very well.
Very nice.
Different dynamics, which I think help make the season 2 more interesting and different than season 1.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Lisa's, she's a double threat. She's brains and beauty, and her research and everything she does is great. And, Issa seems to be coming along in her investigations. And
Oh, yeah.
I think they're a good dynamic, good add-in.
Awesome. So where should we begin? Let's see. Where did we start off? I think we started off with the farm. So the farm, I made the mistake of thinking the farm, it's a little haunted farm. Nothing's going to happen. Easy peasy, right? No, it's never easy peasy. So the haunted farm had a lot of dynamics going on, and we just can't capture everything on camera. But what we did capture on camera, so we can give a little sneak peek, was that you were channeling. All right, we'll start from this side. We'll work our way around. And I'm Angela.
I'm Amy.
I hurt my foot.
What? Oh, what happened to your foot? You okay?
Yeah.
We're channeling.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't get to capture that.
Right.
So for you, what was that like?
I mean, I usually don't channel on camera. Usually with SPI investigations, it happens and it's usually not intentional.
Right.
I don't remember a lot about it afterward, if that makes sense.
Right.
So I don't remember a lot about it.
Oh man. So when it's happening to you, it's almost like you're not there.
You're there, but it's not almost like it's not your memory. So when this entity leaves, it pulls some of that with them. So it's not like amnesia or anything.
Right.
I don't want to give the wrong impression.
Right. So how do you know that it's coming on? Because I know Amy knows. Like, she's been with you long enough.
Yeah.
Michelle knows. They're picking up on those cues.
Yeah. I mean, if anything happens with Michelle or Amy will just look at us and she'll know. A lot of times I think she knows before we know. She'd have to tell you how she knows.
Right.
But she just knows. It just... and sometimes it's sudden. Most of the time it's subtle, where you're like, I'm starting to not feel like myself. And half the time I'm like, I might just be imagining things where I'm tired,
Right.
Yeah.
So what were your clues, Amy? Because I look at you and I go, something's happening, because she's staring at you and not breaking contact. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on?
Well, it's different with everybody. So, I mean, obviously we have male sensitives on our team too that aren't featured on the show.
Right.
But I think over time, and we've worked together for years.
Yeah. So
I've been able to watch everybody and learn each one of their little dynamics. With Lynette, it's often, it's a physical thing. Her movements change. There's a certain look that I can't describe, but she gets almost a certain look on her face when she's kind of slipping into that. And I can just see that look and go, oh, you're not you. And then I'll throw out something or say something and see how she reacts. And I'm pretty much always on the money about it these days.
She'll be looking at me. I'm like, oh God, she's looking at me. I'm like, what? What? Is it happening again? What?
You're like, it's happening again.
And it depends. Like, it depends how strong the channel is.
Yeah.
Because, like, sometimes her speech pattern will change. Like, the words she uses, even her voice.
Different words, like, that she would never use in her dailies.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Like, we've had times where, like, she'll start talking like a British person. And we're like,
What?
okay.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're British.
Yeah.
Cheerio.
Yeah, it's very odd.
Cheerio, and then you're like, knew it.
Michelle's tricky. Hers is a lot more subtle, and she tries to hide
It's
it.
hard to pick up on.
So
sneaky.
So with her, it's a lot trickier, and a lot of times I don't even say anything because I'm like, okay, she don't want anybody to know, so I'm just gonna pretend I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's just you learn everybody's ways and what they do, and you know.
She's our keeper.
There you go. Yeah. That's why it's good to have a team, and especially
really is.
The team that y'all have, knowing each other for that many years and experiencing that.
You have to trust each other. You're like a family. You have to have each other's backs. It's a lot goes into it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So how do you pull somebody out of that? So if you see those two going into something, how do you get them out?
So, you know, sometimes that's not needed. Sometimes they're doing it, they're letting it happen for the investigation to get information. And sometimes it's just leave it alone and it'll be okay. And by the time we finish the session, a lot of times they'll just let go and go on their way. It's only when they're being threatening.
Yeah.
Or they're getting physical along with it.
Wow.
Or like if I can tell one of them is trying to come back to being themselves, but the entity's not letting go.
Ooh, that would be scary.
Things like that. Then that requires, okay, we need some intervention and bring this person back.
Right.
I hesitate to get too deep into how because I wouldn't want somebody who's not trained to do that, to try to do that and get hurt or the other person get hurt. For sure. So, but there are several ways to go about that. And it depends what kind of entity you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Some are stronger. It has to do with their personalities. It has to do with their energy, your energy, right? There's
for sure
different factors.
All I know is now I watch y'all constantly. Now I'm like, I'm always like, is it happening? Is it happening?
Each time is really unique. I mean, there's, similarities, of course, but really each time is kind of unique too.
Right. Because I know that I think, like you said, the way you were walking was different. You were kicking, I think, a little bit.
I do remember that when I was walking with Todd, like kind of on the side of him. For some reason, that is one thing that stands out. I remember I was like kicking the gravel or doing something weird.
Right.
Because I remember I questioned it at the time. I'm like, am I right here?
Why am I doing this?
And of course, we weren't with you at that point. So that would have been good to know.
Know.
Todd's also a very good babysitter.
Yeah, very nice. Because I had no idea. It was so unexpected because like season 1, everything would happen off camera. Camera. Yeah. Right. Nothing would happen on camera. And I thought, my gosh, what am I going to do? Nothing happens on camera. I was like, how do these shows capture so much? I mean, of course, they have longer times. We have 24 hours to capture something. Right.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, which as you've seen, not every investigation produces something.
Right.
So we had that happen. That was new for me. I was scared to death because I went, oh God. And I was like, then who are you? And it's like, I know you are. It took a minute because I had been there before and there was a young boy.
Right.
And then I had experienced him before, and it was almost like I got to meet him in person. So with channeling, it's not always something scary or, she's possessed. It was really kind of a neat experience. I was just making sure you were okay but I watch Amy. Amy gives me the cues of what we need to do and how we need to handle it, but we kept rolling.
Yeah, I remember sitting at the table and just having that strong compulsion that he kept wanting to say that he hurt his foot. That is one thing that I remember.
I think because that was a good identifier for him. So do you feel like spirits will say something to let everyone else know who they are, like an identifier?
Yeah, because I mean, why would they want to let themselves be known at all unless it was their intention. So yeah.
Right. Very much. So we made it through that. I think we gave you a little break after that. Yeah. And then we were like, oh man, I just, at that point, I thought, well, I told them it was going to be a mild investigation. You can't predict anything.
No, you can't.
No. I mean, you could go in thinking it's going to be crazy and then it's nothing. Or you could go in and go, this is a mild haunting. Yeah, right.
It's going to be easy.
Easy. No, nothing was easy.
No.
So then we proceeded on some of the things we have to talk about that happened off camera because we didn't show, and I could have shown, but I didn't feel that was respectful. And I'm not that person. Our show will never be that show. If somebody is uncomfortable or going through something or has even personal issues going, we don't put that on the show. I mean, we do have a lot of conversations, but we're just not going to be those people. Like, I refuse. And so with Amy, I did not see that coming either. I know that she wasn't feeling well, and then Anastasia wasn't feeling well.
It started at the table there.
Thank you. The table. Right. And after reviewing the footage, because before we put together these small segments, there's hours. Yeah. And I'm sitting there watching. So I'm watching your changes, and then I'm watching Amy, and I go, what's the point she doesn't feel well? So I'm watching to see if there's any entities around her or anything. So we're trying to examine the evidence. And then you can see Anastasia starts getting affected. Heavy, really heavy. She starts getting nauseated, coughing.
She couldn't breathe or something, right?
Yeah. She could not breathe.
Heaviness.
So that is something that I didn't follow anyone with cameras after that. We actually did have footage of her, but I cut that because she began to get very sick and dry heaving and coughing, and she wanted to proceed on. She didn't want to miss out. And I said, your health is more important. And then Amy, so take us through what happened to you. I know it's unpleasant, but people need to know that when you are getting into paranormal investigating, ghost hunting, anything, that things can happen that are not pleasant.
It's joke.
It's not all rainbows and sunshine. Yeah. It's not all fun, especially when you get into serious situations. So if you'd like to take us through, without giving too much away, what happened, Amy? Because I was worried to death about you.
Okay, one thing first, because I want to make very clear. I do not believe in any way that those incidents, not the channeling that was, but that the other incidents had anything to do with the spirits that are normally at the farm.
The sickness, the illness.
It was definitely different.
We are well aware that something else followed our group from somewhere else, and that is responsible for that, because I don't want people to get the wrong idea about Wonder Lake or what's there.
Wonder Lake is a more pleasant place. That was something from somewhere else for sure.
Right.
Peaceful spirits.
I don't think anybody else going there to look for that would have the kind of incidents we did. So, that needs to be said.
For sure.
As far as me being ill, my biggest mistake ever caught on camera. That's just difficult to talk about, but I work very hard to, one of my mottos, failure is not an option,
right?
Because off the show, obviously we're dealing with cases for families, and people are being hurt, their lives could be in jeopardy. I have all of my team members, and I want to make sure that they're okay, so I go above and beyond and work myself very hard to try to always perform perfectly.
Right.
No matter how I feel, no matter what's going on. When I walk out the door, all of that's gone, and it's you function perfectly like a machine and don't slip up. That night I slipped up. I was prepared for what I thought we were dealing with.
Right.
Instead of being my normal sense, which is be prepared for anything.
Right.
I feel like had I been that would not have happened to me. And that was a learning curve that will never happen again.
Right.
Like I said, I hate that was a public night, and that's what that was.
But we didn't put any of that on camera.
It is what
None
it
of
is.
that's on camera. For sure, because that's when, because things are going to happen no matter what. There's especially I felt like that I didn't prepare everything. Because like I said, you went down and one of our girls went down, and this was something peaceful because it was a peaceful place, but things can follow you from other places, and without fully, taking time from each one. Like I say, I'll just be blunt, shit can happen and it can go down. And it's one of the things that I want people to hear that from you though, because people that have no experience and they're going from place to place to place to place to place. Imagine what it can do. I mean, this is playing with your life.
Right. And it definitely is. And I tell people that all the time. I remember way back, like early on the team, when we first started getting into like working demonic cases, every time, and they will vouch for this, I would put it out there and be like, possible demonic, this is what's going on. This is a physical situation. People are being hurt. If you don't want to come, you don't have to come. Right. Just say, I don't feel comfortable on this case. And they would all be like, oh, come on. And they're like, yeah, we're going. And eventually I stopped saying that.
Right.
Because it was like, if I said it, they're all like, well, we're still in. Okay.
This seems brave. I think very brave.
So, and then of course, over time, that became more of what we do. So it's kind of hard to say, okay, well, you can opt out of those. You might be on one case a year, but you know.
Right.
So, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, because y'all do the hardest of the hard. I mean, y'all do the cases that other people that they can't find anyone else because people are scared or they can investigate and find something, but then, oh, you have a demon, bye.
Well, and that's the thing, like you see ghost, you know, groups and stuff online, you see people talking and everything's a demon. Well, no, it's not.
Right.
Most of it isn't. But what people don't realize, and with us, is our cases are different. We're not doing regular paranormal cases.
Right.
Most of our cases are referred by other clergy, other teams, people who have had multiple teams and have come to the point of, I need you guys.
Exactly.
So if we were back in the old days doing regular cases, half the time we got nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Or they were, you know, regular, you got Casper in your attic.
Right.
You know, for us now, it's totally different. We're coming in and most of the time these things are already validated and they're already, so it's very different, the kind of cases we get, which is why we have a much higher level of malevolent and demonic activity than most other teams do. So it's not normal, but that's because our caseload isn't normal.
Right.
It's not normal, though.
Yeah.
It's your normal.
Nowadays,
right.
Because a lot of people are watching season 1. They're going to be watching season 2. And like you told me in the beginning, everybody wants to see a demon until they see a demon.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can vouch for that and go, if you're looking to start ghost hunting or be a paranormal investigator, please be careful. Watch what you do and think about it. Have a little time to practice, because stuff like that, you are a seasoned, trained professional, and stuff can still happen to you or anybody.
Absolutely.
That's why I wanted to highlight that, because I wanted people to know that I don't want people to think it's just something rainbows and sunshine and, oh, Casper just pulled my hair. It's like, no, people, I'm sure you've seen people get scratched.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen, I mean, what else have you seen? I mean,
just on the team alone, bruises, black eyes, bloody lips, being physically knocked down where you can't move or you're sore for days or weeks. What else? Vomiting, coughing.
Exactly.
That's not the norm, but it has happened. Obviously.
Right.
All of these things have happened and to different people at different times. So,
because people need to know that. I mean, people need to be aware before taking that step, because I think a lot of times they're watching some of the other ghost hunting shows and they don't see stuff like that. Right. They might see someone got pushed or someone's hair got pulled. Yeah. It's like, if only that was the worst that y'all ever saw, right? Was the hair being pulled.
Yeah, and that's not even counting what goes on in an exorcism, right?
Right, exactly. That's a whole different level. That's a whole nother show.
And a lot of times these things don't happen like during the investigation. I think we've all had like pre-investigation, like the ghosts will go to our house, the spirits will, and kind of check us out. I know it sounds crazy, but
the mediums on the team.
We've all seen that happen. And then so things can happen in your own home. Now, your house isn't going to be haunted. The spirit's going to leave and go back to where it came from. But it can affect you in your own home. And it's happened to Michelle and I, Amy. Yeah.
Yep. Started happening to me before we started going places. And I went, wait a minute. I was like, no, not me. So, yeah, it happens. I mean, but thank you for sharing that, because I know that's a vulnerable moment, but it takes those moments to be able to open up so others can prepare, others can learn from the same thing, and know that this is a dangerous job. That like the Ghost Hunting Beauty side is a show. We are entertaining. It's not usually like this for us either, but I didn't prepare either. And one of our girls was vomiting and very sick and went home. And I was terrified because I didn't know what to do for her. That's why I said we needed someone for guidance to go, what do I do? And I was like,
My fault.
I was like, Amy, wait, what are we doing? I was like, oh crap, now Amy's down. I was like, no. And then I'm like, Todd. At this point.
And I will say that's, I mean, he was definitely hero that night, but that's one of the reasons I tell people all the time, don't go do this by yourself. I mean, we were all dumb kids once and we got started and went and did stuff by ourselves. Knowing what I know now, I would never do that now.
Right.
I'm smarter than that now. I mean,
if you're by yourself, there's no one there to pull you out of it. There's no
Right.
one there to help you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that's why you need people around you that you can trust, because if something does happen, you may not see it coming, and you need those people there to back you up.
I see a lot of people that go on these things
Right.
like with one person filming and
Right.
they're by themselves. And I'm going, that's not smart. Even with a lot of these locations are abandoned.
Yeah.
And you going in, you don't know, there could be someone there that, you know, is mentally ill. There could be someone there watching from the outside or hiding from the police. I mean, you just don't know these things.
Yeah.
So just for safe, like take away the paranormal part, just, safety reasons alone. And then especially if you don't know what you're doing, then those people especially can open themselves up to who knows what's in there.
Yeah.
Waiting to jump them.
Sure.
For sure. So that was part of the Wonderlick Farm. Don't want to give away too much. So that was two of the things that happened off screen. We did not want to show that. I'm not like other hosts that's going to be putting a camera in your face going, oh, tell me what's going on. I'm never going to do that. But I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're okay and glad you're okay.
Glad Anastasia's okay.
Yes. And she's doing great. She was kind of like you. Once she got home, she was okay. So getting out of that situation is important. If you get in somewhere where you're uncomfortable, get out as soon as you can. So let's see. Where else did we go this season? We've been so many places. Yeah. I feel like we've been so many places. We had let's see. We've been everywhere. I'm trying to think. So the next one we had was the antique shop. And of course, what I say before I get in, this place is just fine. And it's like, oh, and then stuff happens.
And it was just fine.
It was.
It's
not.
Yeah, until it
So
wasn't. We had some bleed over from other cases again.
The same thing.
Same place. Same bleed over. Sometimes it's
this
hard
time we were prepared though.
Right. Very prepared. So what made it different this time, Amy? Since you can, maybe you can elaborate just a little without giving away too much. What made it more prepared versus the other time?
I think at that point we were expecting it because of what had happened. So we were just ready to act and do what we normally do.
Right.
We were caught off guard the other time. And like I said, it's a learning curve.
Right.
You make the mistake, you learn from it.
For sure. And I think behind the scenes on this one, we had an incident as well. So if anybody wanted to highlight what was going on there, but it's like, I don't know how much to give away. It's like, I don't want to give away everything.
You want to give it all away.
I know, but there are things that they'll never see, the things that we didn't see. So what didn't we see on the camera?
Well, after we did the Estes method, just things went weird and it wasn't recorded. And actually Todd went outside the house with me because I started feeling really weird. And I don't know how much to say because it all went pretty weird.
Right.
It's
what we do.
Yeah, it's what we do. I don't know. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I feel like I had like a divine entity of sorts with me out of nowhere that I'm not going to elaborate. And it was just surreal. I felt the things I told Todd's just like looking at me and smiling. Anybody else probably would have thought I was crazy. He's like, no, you're good. I'm like, no, Todd, I feel like I could fly or jump up on this roof. Or
whoa.
I kept telling him I had wings. It was weird.
Wow.
And I'm not,
that's incredible.
I'm normal as
right.
as I get.
Like,
anyway.
I swear we're not crazy. None of us are crazy.
Yeah.
We just see things that most people don't.
So it was a night, and I tried to stay away from everybody else because I wasn't sure how off my behavior was. And Todd was watching me because Amy was preoccupied and Michelle was filming.
Yeah.
So again, Todd was the watcher.
Right.
And we were outside for, I don't know how long that went on, like an hour. It was incredible. I don't really want
that
to
much time passed.
duplicate that
It's a long
experience,
session.
but I'll never forget it. I wouldn't be sad if it never happened again, but it was unique.
That is interesting, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to have those kind of experiences, there's people that in their lifetime will never see a paranormal entity, never have an experience like that. So, I mean, that's still incredible.
It was unique.
That's pretty cool.
And unexpected. So, it's one thing I don't go into places looking for things, because then you're like, well, is it, I go in, try to keep my guard up, but kind of try to be open to things and not have my mind set on something. And that was a surprise, because I didn't see that coming.
Right. But that is unique. That is incredible experience, though, because it wasn't something that was terrible. It was more of, it was joyous at that time.
It was interesting. I felt pretty fallible. I don't know how else to describe it.
I'm glad you didn't jump on the roof. That was good. We didn't do that.
Yeah.
Props to Todd for that.
Yeah. it was just very odd, but I'll never forget it.
Because that would have been an odd way to end the night. This everything going down, and then Lynette goes, "I can fly." No, you can't. Stop.
Hey guys, watch this.
She's on the roof flapping her arms.
Hey, I'm used to that. I come from a redneck family. Just hold my beer and watch this. But I'm glad you're okay. At least that was a good experience for this one. Not everything's always bad. It's just different, and we can't capture all of that because once we're switching from scene to scene, stuff can happen while the cameras are not rolling.
I don't know that I would have been comfortable having this one filmed, to be honest with you, because it was so out of the ordinary and odd.
Right.
But it wasn't. So I'm happy to talk about it, of course, give insight into it. But if you would have asked me if it were filmed, I don't know that I would have been comfortable having that air.
Right.
And you know me, I'm pretty open. I'm like, yeah, you can show me doing whatever, anything. I just won't watch it, but you can show it. I'm like, I'm not going to watch it.
Right.
But this was different. So
like, I don't know if you remember, I came and put oil on you just in case. I don't know if you remembered that because I was like, okay, just in case. So it's like, I remember what happened at the farm. I was like, I'm putting oil on you. I'm putting oil on me. By this time I am all oiled up. Like I could have slid out of that driveway.
I remember that. Yeah, you did. You did try to help.
I said, see, I'm learning too. I was like, just make sure that you're okay.
She is. You're keeping an eye on everybody.
That's right.
I was in or on the sidelines for every session, so I felt bad that I couldn't be there for her, but I couldn't be in two places at once.
Right,
so.
exactly.
She was watching the other group just to be careful.
Nothing was happening to my girls again. That wasn't happening again.
And that same year, I was like, okay, Amy's got her girls. I've got my girls. Nothing's happening this time. So I think it was a really good investigation, though.
It was. It was an interesting night.
We finally were catching things on camera. Yes. Like I can give one thing away, the flashlight. That's in the room to where things move, the flashlight moved. It wasn't just turning on the flashlight spun. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat. But Amy's like, it's just another day. And I'm like, oh. I'm watching the footage going, that's so cool. And Amy's like, really?
I mean, we've had that happen. It doesn't happen all the time, but we've seen it happen, but not all the time.
Yeah. When they lift up off the ground in the air,
that's what I want on camera. I want when things lift up there. Like I might have peed myself, but at least then we have footage of that. Clean up later. I'm sure. So do you still get tickled with the people who are new to all of this? And since you guys are all seasoned with it, y'all still get kind of a kick out of watching us go, ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like watching kids at Christmas.
Yeah.
There you go. For sure. Because I'm telling you that to me, every time, like, I hope that never goes away. Like, I hope that 20 years from now, I see something, I'm so going, ooh.
Right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, every case is just unique and different enough that I think I've always say that every case we go on, we learn something that we didn't know before. So in that case, I think that keeps us coming back. 1, we're helping spirits. 2, you're always learning something. 3, that makes it exciing because they're always a little bit different.
Yeah.
Things don't always like levitate. The dog doesn't always levitate. It's not. Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
Right? Not the dog levitates.
It happens, but it's not good.
Oh, God. Have you ever seen that?
Not in person.
Okay.
I know somebody who has.
Yeah. We've heard of that.
That would scare me.
One of our priest friends has.
Their dog levitates?
Not his.
Oh.
But a client.
I was like, that's terrible. Oh my gosh. So that's what my next question was going to be. So when something can move an object, does that mean that the haunting is, deeper? Is this something that's always bad? Like, what does that mean when it can move objects?
It just means that the entity is stronger.
That particular, it could just be like Michelle said, it could be the entity in general. It could be the entity at that particular moment, because I think we agree that their energy fluctuates.
Yeah,
It's environmental issues. It's things we probably aren't even aware of completely.
Right.
So it doesn't always mean they're bad, right?
Right.
No.
Okay.
No.
So
People, if they see something move, they shouldn't always assume this is
No.
something bad. It's just something trying to communicate.
Yeah, sometimes, a lot of the time it's just trying to get your attention.
Exactly.
There you
You
go.
know, I'm here. Pay attention to me.
Yeah. I mean, you're sitting here. This happens. That's
I
not
was now waiting
violent.
for it to
That's not mean. That's not bad. That's hello. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Right.
Here.
exactly.
Right. Now, if it's flying across the room and breaking, then that's something
Or
different.
That's
flying
more
into your
aggressive,
face,
yeah.
You know,
Right. Okay.
And that's something else.
So that's good. At least we have that cleared up, because I was just excited to see that the camera's rolling and something actually, it had
caught
enough
it.
energy to move.
Yeah.
Because he had
Always
said the
exciting.
place had been quiet. So I thought, we're not going to get anything.
You just have to go in thinking that, like, that's going to be a quiet night.
There we go. That's going to be from now on.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
That's
going to
like
think.
the gem. That's when things happen. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is going to happen.
Right.
It's gonna be-
Exactly.
just use the E word. It's going to be easy.
Easy.
Right.
I'll stick to
Fine.
being on guard. I'm better that way.
There we go. Right. So that was kind of a couple of the highlights from the
Antique store.
antique store. And then let's see, we had the haunted funeral home, which
Beautiful
was interesting.
place.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it was
Now,
really pretty.
that one,
It's a
I don't
beautiful
know.
house.
So you guys came, I think, on night 2, because we were going to do a little overnight thing. So we'll get into when you guys rolled up. Could you feel the energy from this place? Could you feel any type of paranormal?
Yeah, it wasn't bad, but
Right.
you could tell that there
There
were
was things there.
it felt like there were quite a few spirits there, and you just kind of felt the history of the place. I think I did. Maybe they agree with me. That's my
Yeah.
impression when we pulled up.
For sure. And to be such a pretty place, I mean, that's where I would haunt.
Right.
Right.
If
Yeah,
I'm
because
sitting
it was
behind, I
gorgeous.
would like to haunt there, especially they had Cher's dress,
Right.
which was kind of
Yeah,
neat.
that was really neat.
Which when I went back looking at through evidence, pictures, and different things, I can't tell you how many times that I saw that mannequin and the dress and went, ooh, and I was like, ah. That's going to be the theme of season 2 is Angela goes, ooh, she can't say what she sees. That's all I do is go, ooh, every time I see something. But I see that all the time in pictures and evidence that people that, I don't know if they're reaching or it's hard because a lot of times I don't see a lot on camera. To me,
Yeah.
I think maybe I'm just blind to it on camera. Have you guys had success with catching things on camera?
Somewhat. I mean, I'd say we get just as much, if not more, off camera too.
Yeah, a lot of things happen off camera. We could be during the investigation and we'll be filming here and something will happen like in a different room.
Right. And you're like,
Right.
oh.
And you're like, well, heck.
Right.
I mean, the thing is, like, too, it's tricky because, like, channeling or feeling like you're being attacked.
yeah.
Like, if somebody can't see it, but you feel like you're being choked or something like that, we look at that as personal experiences.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
evidence.
It's not evidence.
It's a personal experience because we don't have a way to prove
Right.
that. So, I mean, if we get a lot of evidence, like if it's one of our clients and we get a lot of evidence, we may tell them about that, but we tell them flat out, we can't count that as evidence.
Yeah,
because
this isn't hardcore evidence
Right.
because, you know, it was a feeling I had or, you know, a
Right.
thought that I had or, you know, a spirit was trying to tell me something, but we can't prove it. It's not on audio, it's on camera.
Right.
So it's a personal experience. And here's the information.
There you go.
You know, do what you
Right. And it might give the client validation, especially like
Right.
let's say if there was, you felt like you were drowning and then someone
Yeah.
there had drowned,
Right.
then that could give validation to something they're experiencing as well.
That's true.
Because more likely, a lot of these people are probably experiencing the same thing.
Mhm.
So in the Watson house, there was a lot that was happening. Like I said, I wish y'all could have came earlier because we had the pajama party. We all could have been there.
Yeah.
Right. But you felt something walking up. Tell me a little bit about something that wasn't shown on camera because you guys got to go off and investigate a little bit on your own, like off camera. Did you guys experience anything that we didn't capture? Oh, I know there was because I saw y'all.
Than me.
During the Estes method with Issa, I had like physical feelings that I didn't state that I found out that she had later. So with the Oaks, the antique store, I made sure I verbalized. I kept saying, I'm okay, but this is happening. Because I kind of realized my error. If you tell them how you're feeling, you're missing words too, right? Right. So it's like, what do you do? But so even though I didn't say it, I found out later that Issa and I were having like almost not like drowning, but heaviness, and then like anxiety, like your heart's going to pound out of your chest. Just really, we didn't know we were having the same thing kind of at the same time. Right,
because y'all were separated. Yeah. Like y'all were far apart, and especially with those headphones on.
I couldn't hear anything, and I didn't verbalize anything, so she didn't know what I was,
Right. And that was, like I said, we love doing the Estes method. That was her first one.
She did very good.
She passed the test doing the Estes method. I was like, man, because I feel again, I'm kind of like Amy on this. I feel like I didn't prepare her enough. So I feel like I failed my team, but I'm learning. We're kind of new to all this kind of stuff, but I didn't prepare her, and I didn't know she'd have that experience. Because again, the Watson house is so beautiful and so peaceful. Yeah. And I really got great vibes in there. Like there was so much activity in there. But I mean, I think you guys got to go into one room we didn't get to experience, which was where they had the crematorium area. Yeah. So did you get to see anything there?
So I was actually in a different building for part of the night, not at the house. So I didn't really have that many things happen with me at the house.
Okay.
Since part of the night I wasn't there, but
right. Because you were gone for part of the night. But a lot of times what people don't realize is before we start filming is that a lot of us go assess things, and especially you guys, because you want to know, where is there something? You got to make sure everybody's safe. Because if you feel something dark, you're like, I know you're like strapping on the boots. You're like, let's go. Let's get ready.
Yeah, we did have the little guest house area we stayed in. So that we did go over there.
It's pretty peaceful.
Yeah, they said they liked scaring people and
off camera we did talk to some of the spirits off camera.
When you get spirits saying they're having a little bit of fun, you're like, come on.
At least they're honest, right?
Right?
Yeah. We enjoyed ourselves. It was good.
Nothing bad. Yeah. I mean, the whole house was very peaceful, good spirits. I mean, we'll leave that for the show. Right. But the place that I went in and explored was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Feel and different things going on. So that was not as relaxed.
Anytime I know a place is a more hardcore or there's something deeper to get into, I was like, we're sending Amy. We're sending Amy. I was like, because that was one that she had experienced being choked from before. Right. And on a different YouTube show, they had highlighted and she was talking about that. So I was prepared for something like that. I didn't know what we were going to get into, but on the show, you'll let us know what happened in there because it's really cool.
Yeah. I just hope that helped her. I
think so.
That what we did helped her there.
For sure. Like I said, they don't get to see the behind the scenes and they don't get to see the aftermath. And I think that we left there very, very peaceful because I didn't sleep. I'm just going to be honest. I didn't sleep. Well, I normally don't when we investigate. And this lady here, like, she's like, I can drive.
I can drive 10 hours home. I've been investigating all night, but I'm going to get us home.
It's like, 4 a.m. I got hours of darkness left. I'm good.
I was dying. I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. It takes a very, very special person, very special team, and especially having the bond that y'all have to be able to pull those all-nighters, like especially because you don't know what you're going to get, what you're going to experience, and you're recording evidence.
Yeah, we're tight. Also, I was just remembering with the Estes method, didn't we kind of discover there was like an unsolved mystery or like a urban legend or something that I didn't know anything about, but you watched the footage and you told me that you think we resolved some things through the information that we received.
One of the things it said was that, so we actually had it to where we could hear what you're hearing, which I thought was really neat for this season. Yeah. So everybody can feel like they're listening with you. But a lot of times it comes in so fast, it's hard to catch everything.
Yeah, you can't say everything because while you're talking, you might be missing something.
Right.
And honestly, because we had done Estes, I think season 1, but this season, the words, the sentences that came through, it's like you can't keep up with it. I mean, we were blessed.
Right.
Weird, odd word, but we really were. We had a bounty of things that were said. And it was incredible, I thought.
Right. you're like, Chatty Cathy, slow it down.
Slow it down, dude. Come on. And then it also sounded like, I remember at Watson House, that there were multiple spirits like talking to each other.
Yes.
Almost, because I kept hearing like a woman's voice and then a man's, and I'm like, wait, we got a lot going on here.
Right. That is kind of the neatest thing, is that especially because you're used to channeling and hearing things and being able to communicate with spirits, but having the spirit box kind of takes it to a different level, and it helps the people who are watching to experience it with you.
Yeah.
So that's what I really liked about this season. We were able to pull them in and even catch things that we didn't catch. So I don't know if I told you, ladies, one of the things it said on the spirit box that we didn't catch, but was very clear, didn't need to be slowed down or clarified, because sometimes we'll slow it down or we'll, try to piece it together. This one clearly said, beauties out. And I went, that's specific. So
why you gotta be that way?
Because a lot of people say, well, you're pulling in radio stations, you're pulling in radio waves. Like, yes, that's true to an extent. True. But you get spirits using that energy, just like they can use a television, just like they can use anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And sure enough, they said, beauties out. And I said, that was clear. And I was like, oh, Lynette didn't hear that. And I was like, oh, they're telling us, get out.
Get out of here.
Right, get out. And then which we don't realize is that there was conversations going on in other parts, because different investigations are happening at different times. It picked up on that. And it starts talking about what we were talking about in another room.
It's crazy.
And I went, okay. And I was like, so they're listening in there, because spirits can go anywhere just like that.
Exactly.
So that was pretty interesting with Watson House. We had the Estes method. We had spirits. Like I said, y'all got to experience a little bit of the spirits pranking us, which was interesting. And we did capture that we had the, I think is a Google. Well, those Google, it's not an Alexa, but it's like an Alexa. It's a Google that it would come on and play music.
Yeah.
Now that one we can't confirm or debunk that one, but it's really strange that would just come on just all of a sudden when we're investigating, and that is on camera. So I'm glad we got that on camera.
That one too.
It's like, man. So let's see. So we're working our way up to the biggest one. I know. Everyone is dreading that one, but we're working our way up before we get to the end where we got questions coming in. All right. So one of the things we could talk about is the haunted townhome, which was another doozy with the Estes method as well.
Yes, it was.
So tell me a little bit more about that, ladies.
Oh, that's reaching back in my memory.
I know.
Well, Estes method, we got, again, there was a crime, I believe, committed there in the area. And I didn't know any specifics, but we got evidence of that came through in the Estes method. So that was another effective session, Estes method. That's what I remember mostly about that.
Right.
Again, mostly peaceful spirits in that house, just lost.
Right.
A lot lost.
They were coming through in Spanish at first. I remember that. So there was a lot.
I remember that, but I believe you.
There were Spanish at first, and I was like, "Oh, it's like I can understand Spanish." And then, like, now I'm going back to 5th grade, trying to remember and conjugate. It's like I can't just speak that. And I was like, "Yo soy, damn it, me llamo," and I was like, "Oh, this is terrible." It's like, "Oh." I was like, hope we end up cutting all that out.
You're good. I know those words. And I don't know
See?
that. I mean, standard words.
But it goes to show, too, that one thing that we can talk about, just like Wonderlick Farm and just like the haunted townhome, is not all spirits speak English.
Right.
Correct.
And I know you guys have personally had that happen as well.
Yeah. We've used Google Translate on multiple occasions and had full-blown conversations.
Right.
Right.
And especially when you're channeling, do they ever channel through in another language?
I don't think I've experienced that. I mean, I'm sure they probably could.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Just with a British accent.
That'd be fun trying to pull up the translate while I'm trying to.
It's about as foreign as I've gotten. So
right. So that was one thing I wanted to highlight too, is to show people that I've seen a lot of places and a lot of people, they think that everywhere you go, spirits are speaking English. That would be odd if they were speaking English everywhere.
They're not all white people, Anglo,
right?
There's different.
I really laugh like when you see like the overseas shit, and the teams from here go over there and we're in, 17th century Scotland and we're in this castle and they're speaking English and I'm like,
no,
really?
No.
I mean, come on, guys.
I say, can I get a ghost translator? Is what I ask for. It's like, can I have? Do you feel that sometimes other ghosts and spirits can like translate, that they can actually speak for other spirits?
So in a way, there are spirits that are, how do I put that? I want to say higher level, ascended, would be a good word.
Oh, nice.
That seem to have more of an understanding. They can get your gist, they can get your vibe, whatever you want to call it. Even if maybe they didn't speak the same language when they were living, they're just at a higher level now where they can better understand.
Yeah, I would also add to that, that when spirits are earthbound and they're on the earth plane, language is a barrier. If we're talking about not like an inhuman communicating with non-words, that would take an ascended entity to help us with that.
Right.
But if just talking like a normal human person who's ascended, I think language isn't a barrier once you've crossed the threshold. There's different ways of communicating, and language doesn't seem to be an issue. But with the earthbound, we do need the translation. If that makes sense.
Yes, that does. So if you cross over, then you have more of access to the knowledge and the languages.
Yes.
But if you haven't crossed and you're tied here,
you're just kind of stuck here with us in the mire a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's why I said that a lot of spirits are petty, the ones that haven't crossed over, because you're still stuck with whatever frame of mind you were here. So if you were cranky in life, you're probably cranky in the afterlife.
But yeah, even spirits who've crossed that we've dealt with, we'll have inhumans that they don't like speak. So we'll have help.
Interesting.
Like, we'll have help with that because they don't, I don't know how else to explain it.
So if they don't speak, how do they communicate?
It's different for different ones.
Yeah.
Like feelings, maybe? Or
That's
do they
one
maybe
way.
visions?
That's one way.
Yeah, lots of different ways.
That's interesting.
And then you have the trick of, when you run across somebody that was mentally ill in life that hasn't crossed.
Yeah.
They're still
a little affected.
Ill.
Right.
So those are fun.
Yeah. Now, once you cross anything, and whether you believe mental illness is biological, once you cross, you lose that, you're clear.
Really?
Yes. So any illness of any sort, you're that doesn't affect you. But while you're still here with us,
right?
All
the more reason to go into the light.
Yeah, exactly.
Cross over so that you don't have to keep feeling this feeling.
100%. If I have learned anything, go. Just go.
Right. Just go.
Just trust us. Things will be much better.
I see those memes like, who will you haunt? What will you do? No,
you're like,
I'm out.
You're like, bye.
I don't know. I might see the Nile or go to the Bahamas. I'm like, I gotta see this.
She's going to be haunting. So now we know which of the three is going to be haunting. Lynette's sticking around.
I'm out for a while.
Amy's going by.
Just to see some sights. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to spend too long here. Can I go? Am I good?
Right. She's like, wait, I just want to vacay. And then she forgets she's still here. And then Amy's going to have to like pull her up.
Probably.
I told you, come
Sounds accurate.
Probably. That's about right.
That I can see. That's going to happen.
That's about right.
Come on back now. Go.
She's like,
she forgot where she was again.
Right. Just play with it. Michelle will have shiny objects.
She's over there.
No lie.
She's like, hello. This will follow the shiny objects.
This is true. Follow the little bell. Hear the ringing bell sound?
Right. Like me, I always said I'll probably reincarnate like 50 more times. If you can if reincarnation is real, I am not one that learns my lesson.
Right.
So I'm gonna be like here 50 more times.
Be kicked in the teeth about 3 times, and then I'm like, I think I finally got this lesson.
Right. I'd be like, damn it, I'm broke again.
Nope, I'm done. Even my spirit's tired.
Right. And he's like, I've learned.
I'm good.
Okay, so now we're working up to the big one, the one that, and we don't even have to call it by name, but I'm going to call it by name. You don't have to call it by name.
I don't.
You don't. That we will go to the most haunted place in America. So it's listed in some places.
Yeah.
Most haunted place I've been to, if you want to go to heaviest haunting.
Yeah.
So Yorktown. I know everybody's like, Shudder. Everyone do the Shudder.
Or as I call it, Y-Town.
There we go, Y-Town.
That's my shorthand.
Yorktown, like I will be honest, ladies, I have not gone back to look at footage except for the one where I will give one spoiler behind the scenes, and it's our scene. It's our scene, which was great. We thought that there was some sort of demonic growling. Do you remember that?
Yes.
She's like, I tried to block it,
and it was. Go ahead, you can tell him.
It was snoring.
It was snoring. It was not
James.
me. It was James. James, my husband, our producer. knocked out cold. Amy, she was in fighting mode. She was ready to exorcise the demon, and it was the sleep demon. He was just out.
It wasn't paranormal. It was just normal.
There was a few minutes of like y'all trying to get his attention where he was silent.
Yeah.
And Todd and I were sitting in the back and we're looking at each other like something is wrong here. Like this is not normal. Then the weird noises, and of course none of us knew he was asleep.
Right.
Y'all are like, do we go on? Like, do we keep working? So I'm like creeping down the side of the pews like, okay, James is not a small guy.
Right.
Anybody can look at me, you know, I may be what I am, but I'm a small girl. So I'm like, okay, this is about to not be a fun night. Yeah, I get over there and I see him sleeping and it was like, oh, thank God, he's asleep.
I was waiting for her to douse him with holy water and wake him up and be like, I'm alive.